The anima and the animus are two of the most interesting and thought-provoking archetypes in Jungian psychology. The anima and animus are concerned with our inner lives, or souls. Not soul in the philosophical sense of something that lives on after we die, but soul in the sense of the power inside us that keeps us alive. When Jung did this study, gender roles were clearer and more standard. This is where these soul definitions come from. Because of this, some may believe that his work and the concept of the anima and animus are no longer accurate. But many of his ideas about how people behave may still be true in modern society. Jung's model of the psyche includes both outer and inner worlds. Our conscious life and the outside world are represented by our persona, or social mask. Uncovering and exploring one's unconscious is where true adventure begins. The shadow is revealed by one's own subconscious. In order to become aware of one's shadow, one must acknowledge the presence and reality of one's dark side. There is always a lot of pushback when we try to work on our shadow, despite the fact that doing so is essential for self-awareness. According to Jung, the shadow, the anima, the animus, and the self all have light and dark elements. Even though the persona and the shadow are always the same gender, when people talk about the opposite gender, they are projecting the anima and the animus, which are contrasexual figures that emerge from within the shadow. The anima symbolizes all female psychological inclinations in a man, while the animus represents all male psychological tendencies in women. The shadow is a representation of the personal unconscious and a way to bring its contents to light. The anima and animus, on the other hand, are much further away from consciousness and are rarely seen. Because they are complementary, they will constantly compensate for one another's weaknesses. They are archetypes, or collectively inherited patterns of conduct, that are autonomous and difficult to integrate into one's personality. The function of anima and animus, like that of the persona, is to connect with the depths of the psyche. The feminine soul, eros, characterizes the masculine anima. On the other hand, the animus of a woman stands for the logos, the spirit, the principle of reason. The mother usually shapes a man's anima, which is the personification of all of his female psychological tendencies. If a man believes his mother was a negative influence in his life, his anima will often manifest as anger, depression, uncertainty, insecurity, and sensitivity. When the anima is negative, the urge is to fantasize about life instead of experiencing it. Such people become passive, lethargic, unmotivated, and depressed. Nothing matters. A subtler form of a negative anima is engaging in a damaging intellectual game, typical of pseudo-intellectual dialogues that prevent a man's direct contact with reality and its genuine consequences. The man becomes too busy reflecting on life to fully experience it. Overattachment to one's mother can influence one's anima in a negative manner. The male becomes more effeminate and is preyed upon by females. He is incapable of dealing with life's challenges. On one hand, he idolizes the feminine. A mother's complex divides the anima. A man regresses, abandoning the terrible world for the warmth and protection of his mother. This is known as perpetual youth, or the Peter Pan syndrome. This is true of socially immature male adults today, like man-children who have never grown up. On the other hand, a man like this can start to despise women and regard them as lustful objects. The anima most often manifests as sexual fantasies, which can become obsessive when a man remains emotionally immature. Similarly to how a man's mother influences his anima, a woman's father influences her animus. The father imparts authentic convictions to his daughter's animus that do not represent her inner truth. Because of the way our society is structured, fathers and children rarely get the opportunity to spend quality time together. Career-focused fathers spend little time with their families, while emotionally distant fathers and those who spend all their spare time with their friends are also problematic. Most unsolved daddy issues in today's society may be traced back to a father who was missing, either physically or emotionally. It's more common for women to long for protection and validation, while men with father complexes struggle with approval and self-worth. Just like what happens with men, a father's complex divides the animus in women. As a young woman grows older, her desire for approval, support, love, and understanding might lead her to make terrible relationship decisions, such as having affairs with older men and accepting being exploited and mistreated as a method to cover the void left by her dad. When relationships in these circumstances are toxic and have a bad outcome, the woman's animus may be left in worse shape and she may lose faith in intimate relationships as well as life in general as a result. Negative aspects of the animus pull women away from human relationships and personify a cocoon of dreamy ideals loaded with desire and presumptions about how things should be, isolating a woman from reality. A deep sense of insecurity or strange passivity can be caused by an unconscious animus opinion. The woman's anger tells her, "You're hopeless," in her heart. So, what's the point? Doing anything is a waste of time. nothing good ever happens. The animus also shares the animus leech-like characteristics. In this form, the animus is a personification of a woman's cruel and destructive thoughts, which can make her so angry that she wishes death on other people. The animus is more than cruelty, carelessness, empty words, and wicked thoughts. It has good qualities. Its creativity could result in self-awareness. If a woman recognizes her animus, she can create an inner companion with male traits like drive, courage, objectivity, and spiritual insight. By bringing the anima into balance, a man can generate eros and become more calm, sensitive, and affectionate. Females who have successfully processed their animus through the influence of their father's logos tend to develop greater confidence, focus, and intelligence as a byproduct. We can have a positive impact on our psyche if we continue to integrate the contents of the collective unconscious into ourselves. This is essential in overcoming our harsh realities and becoming more aware of our true selves. If you enjoyed this video and would want to see more like it in the future, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to our channel.